as a tool and mechanism to help maintain the peace that allows for the peaceful spread of message about the religion of monotheism, justice, and equality to the entire world and protect it against attack. After people receive the message, it's up to them to accept Islam or choose otherwise. And there is a verse in the Quran, Allah states, as it was mentioned before, there is no compulsion in religion. Faith is a matter of heart. So, if you put pressure on a person to convert to a religion, it's not a religion. Hypocrisy. It's going to produce hypocrisy. So war most often begins as a personal or national interests for land, resources, or other political or economic reasons. Islam prohibits this war and allows for jihad in the form of war in 3 situations. So, the first, defense of life, property, and national boundaries without transgression. Allah the Exalted says in the Quran, fight in the cause of Allah those who fight you, but do not transgress limits, for Allah loves not transgressors. The second reason for war or jihad, let's say, removing oppression and the just rights of oppressed people. Upon examining attentively the Quranic verses in which God demands Muslims to fight, we find a clear evidence that war should be a means to drive away oppression, aggression, and tyranny. For example, some verses in the Quran say, the believers against whom war is waged are given permission to fight in response, for they have been wronged. I will move forward in that verse. Were it not for God's repelling some people by means of others, monasteries and churches and synagogues and mosques where God is regularly worshipped and his name is much mentioned would surely have been pulled down. God most certainly help whoever helps his cause. Surely God is all strong, glorious, with irresistible might. So the chapter 22 verses 39 and 40. Such verses show that Islam demands for the protection, defense, the support of oppressed people of the world and freedom in religion. Third reason for war, defense of faith and religion. Allah the Exalted says in the glorious Quran, and fight them on until there is no more tumult or oppression, and there prevails justice and faith in Allah, one God, altogether and everywhere. But if they cease, verily Allah does not see all that you do. Allah does see all that you do. This is one legitimate reason for entering a war. Once fitna has been eradicated, people can adopt different worldviews, and the followers of other faiths such as Christianity, Judaism, Zoroastrianism, and so forth are free to live according to their own religions. But public order should not be harmed by any of these. So, preservation of religion is the first essential need. If you look at the Bible, the Old Testament, let's say Exodus, chapter 20, Deuteronomy, chapter 5, talks about the 10 commandments. And the first 4 commandments are about actually faith in God. For example, the first commandment, thou shalt have no other gods besides me. The first commandment. The second commandment, thou shalt not use the name of God in vain. The third commandment, thou shalt not engrave images to worship. The fourth, keep the Sabbath day holy. So all these commandments are an example for the preservation of religion and faith. So there is a common point. This is the crucial to Abrahamic religions. The second essential need, the preservation of nafs or human life. Human life is sacred and gift from God, the Creator. According to Islamic divine law, life is a necessity and it is one of the top priorities that must be preserved at all costs. Without the mentioned legitimate reasons, all killing is prohibited in Islam, and whomever kills someone It's chapter 5, verse 32. It is as if you kill the whole mankind. Whomever saves one's life, it is as if you save the whole mankind. Every human is unique, representative of mankind. If all people died except one, then that person is the only one who represents mankind among other existence, such as animals, trees, whatever on earth. So in Islam, killing falls into three types: intentional or premeditated murder, manslaughter, and total mistake. Islam commands the execution of anyone who killings are separate categories with separate lesser sentences, and blood money is paid to the close relatives of the victim. The family or the heirs of the killed victim are given a diye, blood money, unless they choose to forgive the killer. In that respect, the killer must repent to God and make atonement by the freeing a slave. This is a kind of way to eradicate slavery at that time. And if it is not possible, by fasting for 2 consecutive months. Man is not allowed to deprive himself of permissible food, drink, clothing, marriage, and proper care under any pretexts. If that causes him harm, Allah the Exalted states in the Holy Quran, say, who has forbidden the beautiful gifts of God, which he has produced for his servants, and the things clean and pure, for sustenance? All these regulations are for the preservation of nafs, of life.
Could you please summarize where?
Okay, I will move forward. How much time left for me? Actually, I would say 2 more minutes.
2 more
Okay,
minutes.
the preservation of mind after this is the third essential necessity of life. And intelligence is the basis of all meaningful and responsible actions and accountability. Islam prohibits intoxicants that impair the judgment, activity of the mind, and degrade man. So alcohol is forbidden for the preservation of the mind, and also to protect the honor of mankind. The fourth essential need for life, the preservation of honor, family, and lineage. Because of that, Islam places special value on strong family bonds and good relations among relatives, since the family is the basis of the foundation of the society. So many rules help protect this family against breakup and disintegration. The fifth essential need is the preservation of wealth. Private wealth and property are the basis of the economy and the livelihood of the members of the society. So Islam protects personal wealth and imposes very strict penalties against banditry, robbery, thievery, and any violations against sanctity of the property. Cheating, embezzlement, monopoly, hoarding, and many other harmful practices are forbidden, prohibited. So these are essential necessities. After that, the second circle is human exigencies. So these are some complementary things or matters that people need in order to remove restrictions and difficulties in applying the 5 essential necessities. So it's trying to achieve a level in which people will form higher moral values. And after that, embellishments. Actually, so many things should be said about them, but because of the limited time, I'm just moving forward. Embellishments are intended to render human affairs or conditions more suited to the requirements of the highest standards of the moral conduct. So, as a conclusion, if these benefits are compared to circles, one inside the other, there are some logical implications, priorities, and characteristics for these 3 circles. The central circle, which holds the Quran and the Sunnah, represents the source of legislation and the source of establishing and procuring benefits. The second circle is universal and dynamic. Its global vitality resides in the fact that these 5 necessities are necessary to every single culture, regardless of whether it is Islamic or not. The failure to preserve these necessities results in chaos for that culture, regardless of its identity. The 5 necessities must be preserved according to their priorities: religion, life, intellect, progeny, and property, preservation of them. Changing the priorities of these necessities will lead to perplexity in the moral life by changing the priorities in the standard of moral values. Thus, for example, property, money, if it comes before faith or before protection of life, then it's going to cause some chaos in society, as we witness today. Okay, let's come to the case study. The first question: would it be morally right to kill 10 people in order to save 910 people? So I'll try to give the answer as a quotation from Ghazali's book. So according to Ghazali, on the basis of Sharia, it is morally wrong to kill some people in order to save others. Why? Al-Ghazali gave 3 reasons against the justification of killing in this case. First, universality. The benefit of people in this case, the majority, is not a universal benefit. It is only the interest of a small community who are going to use others as means to their end. The second reason, necessity. The benefit of those people on the boat is not necessary to a degree to break another necessity and kill humans. The third reason, certainty. We are not certain that killing those people is going to save the rest. What if they killed them and after that they faced another problem at sea? Should they kill another 10 people to save the rest? This is morally unjustifiable and becomes out of control. So the lesson we derive from here, the ends, no matter how noble, do not justify the means. Thank you for listening.
So thank you, Professor.